You know, in this all-out race to build the most powerful AI on the planet, there's one company that's trying to do something, well, something pretty radical. They're trying to build the brakes at the exact same time they're building the engine. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into Anthropic. They're the AI lab making huge waves, not just for how powerful their models are, but for how publicly they're committing to keeping them safe.
So, to really get this story, we're not going to start with a company. We're going to start with an explosion of pure, raw power. Take a look at this chart. This shows the computing power used to train major AI models over the last 10 years or so. And you can see it's not some gentle slope, is it? It's a wall, a nearly vertical climb. The amount of energy we are pouring into these systems is just scaling at a speed that's, well, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around.
And all that power, it's creating intelligence at a frankly unbelievable speed. I mean, look at this. This chart basically shows you how fast AI is growing up. Just a few years back, the best models were basically at a preschooler level. Kind of cute, right? Well, today, we're talking about models like GPT-4, which are already at the level of a smart high schooler. And where is this train headed? Well, the arrow points straight towards superhuman abilities. We're not talking about science fiction anymore.
And this is what's driving that insane acceleration. It is a relentless, no-holds-barred competition. You've got the big players, Google with Gemini, OpenAI with GPT, and the company we're focusing on, Anthropic, with its model, Claude. They're all just constantly leapfrogging each other. I mean, every few months, bam, a new model comes out, smashes the old records, and pushes the entire field forward at this just breakneck speed.
So who exactly is this challenger, Anthropic? And in a race that's this frantic, why on earth are they so obsessed with slowing down? Let's find out what makes them so different.
Okay, so you really have to understand their origin story to get what they're all about. Anthropic was started back in 2021 by a brother and sister, Dario and Daniela Amadei, and a bunch of other top researchers who all came from, wait for it, OpenAI. Yeah, they left one of the biggest AI labs in the world because they basically thought the industry was a runaway train moving way too fast with not nearly enough thought about the potential dangers.
So right from the get-go, their mission was super clear. It had three core parts. They weren't just trying to build the next bigger, faster model. No, they were focused on creating AI that is, and these are their words, helpful, honest, and harmless. They wanted its behavior to be predictable, controllable, all to make sure that these incredibly powerful tools actually benefit all of us, not just a few. But here's the big question, right? Does all this focus on safety mean they have to sacrifice power? Are their models weaker? Well, let's take a look at their flagship model, Claude, and see how it really stacks up. And honestly, the results here might surprise you. What you're looking at is something called the SWE bench. It's a really tough test that measures how well an AI can handle real-world coding and software engineering problems. And look at this. Anthropic's newest model, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, is actually beating OpenAI's powerful model. So yeah, they're not just keeping up. On some really important tasks, they're actually in the lead.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. It's not just about raw power. It's the combination of that power and the price. Claude isn't just better at some things, it's also way, way cheaper. We're talking about 1/5 of the cost. Now, if you're a developer trying to build something with this technology, getting this kind of performance for a fraction of the price, that is a massive game changer.
And listen, it's not just about these abstract test scores either. This chart shows you what it can do in the real world, in terms of speed. The tests being tested here, they'd take a pretty good human developer about half an hour to finish. Claude 3.5 Sonnet is knocking them out in seconds. So we're talking about real-world practical usefulness here, not just some numbers on a chart.
Okay, so let's recap. We've got a model that's ridiculously powerful, and it's just getting stronger and stronger with every single update. Which brings us right back to the central question. How in the world does Anthropic plan to keep this thing safe?
All right, the first layer of their safety net is this really clever idea they came up with called constitutional AI. Think of it like this. Instead of having humans constantly looking over the AI's shoulder and saying, good response, bad response, they give the AI a set of rules, literally a constitution. And then they teach the AI to judge its own answers based on that constitution. The goal is to build the safety and ethics right into the AI's core thinking process.
And building on top of that idea, they created this public promise. They call it the Responsible Scaling Policy, or RSP. And the goal is, well, it's simple to say, but it's incredibly profound. It's basically, do not let your AI get more powerful, faster than your ability to control it, period.
The absolute key to this whole policy is the framework they built. They created these things called AI safety levels, or ASLs, and the hurricane warning system analogy is perfect. AS1, that's your small, low-risk models, a tropical depression. AS2 is where the big models like Claude are today. Things are getting serious. AS3 means we're talking about significantly higher risk, a major hurricane. And AS4 is for stuff that's still on the horizon but potentially catastrophic. It creates these really clear, predefined levels of danger.
Okay, but a policy is just words on paper, right? What matters is how it actually works in the real world. So let's see how they're putting this whole thing into practice with their latest models.
So remember how we were just talking about how powerful Claude 3.5 Sonnet is? Well, that same power puts it right here on their safety map. It's solidly in ASL2. Now that means it's starting to show some early signs of potentially dangerous abilities, but nothing catastrophic yet. The key word is yet, because you can see it's inching really close to that next big threshold, ASL3.
And we need to be clear, hitting ASL3 is not some small step. This is a big deal. According to Anthropic's own rules, this is the point where a model is smart enough to potentially help with some genuinely catastrophic stuff. And they don't mince words. They're talking about things like helping someone develop a bioweapon, assisting with massive cyber attacks, or, and this is a wild one, showing the first signs of being able to replicate itself on its own.
So because they see this coming, they have a very clear, pre-planned emergency brake. It's a simple three-step process. 1, they've already defined exactly what a model has to be able to do to trigger each safety level. 2, they have teams whose entire job is to constantly test their own models to see if they can do those things. And 3, the second a model hits a trigger for a new level, everything stops. The policy says they have to pause development and put specific safety measures in place before they're allowed to move forward.
And just so we're all on the same page, this is not some small academic research project we're talking about. Make no mistake, as of the middle of 2024, Anthropic was reportedly being valued at $170 billion. The amount of money and the societal stakes involved here are just astronomical.
And that, right there, really gets to the heart of the whole Anthropic story. They have this kind of dual identity. On one hand, they're absolutely in the thick of this race, pushing the boundaries of what AI can do. But with their other hand, they're building this public, transparent safety system designed to control the very power they're unleashing.
So what's the big takeaway here? I think it's this. Anthropic is trying to build and test the fire alarm before the house is on fire. In an industry that's all about moving fast and breaking things, that's a pretty radical idea. And by making their safety plan public, they're not just holding themselves accountable, they're challenging the entire industry to do the same. Which leaves all of us with a really big and frankly pretty urgent question. As we race towards creating intelligence that could be far beyond our own, can a policy, any policy, written today really be enough to keep us safe tomorrow?